trying to fix the electrical system.
Okay,
they
so
can't.
Understand. If you take it back and we nationalize it, how do you solve the problems that made privatization look attractive at the time that government decided they were going to privatize
Because
power?
government was just doing trial and error. That's why they were in charge of it at the point, and later they privatized it. They sold it to their friends.
Are you dismissing the lack of efficiencies, the tendency to corruption?
That's what I'm talking about. One of the things I said when we started this is we're changing personnel. I'm going to be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the people who don't know what they are doing. And I'm going to be the chief hiring officers for the best human resources you can find on it, who are Nigerians, who will come back and make it happen here for us. Okay. So we have the people already who can make this country work. We keep making it sound like we don't have Nigerians who can make things work. But when you sell electricity generating plants to Nigerian big men with their big political connections, then they go and import Indians.
What I'm hearing is
Philippines. And you say, what is there? What is there that we cannot do? Why did we have a country that's 60?
Okay. What I'm hearing is a program of mass sackings. If you ever
nobody is sacking anybody. It was privatization that led to the unemployment you are talking about now.
Okay.
And all the companies owned by the Nigerian government working and not privatized, a lot of people will be employed today. Government would have employed more people in those factories.
Okay.
But the people who you are subsidizing, who you are giving grants, who you are giving waivers, how is it that they have not been able to provide more people getting employed? Or instead, they go and bring outsiders to come and run businesses that can be run in Nigeria. Somebody will go to the Niger Delta, bring a Filipino to come and be doing underwater welding. When there are people in the Niger Delta who sleep inside water.
Before we go to break, Before we go for a break, I just wanted to share a little fact with you, and then we'll go on a break and we'll continue when we come back. In the history of Nigeria, electricity generation peaked for the first time to over 5,000 megawatts, September this year. Did you know that?
It was rainy season. Why not?
No, but it had never happened before.
No, it happened.
So when you dismiss,
let's make it clear.
I'm saying even when...
Let's make it clear. It was not privatization that made it peak.
Okay.
It was that the rainy season was very
But we've
long.
had rainy seasons for the last 6 years.
Let the rainy season be over and tell me, you have capacity to generate 7,000 megawatts of electricity. You are transmitting 5,000 and you want me to celebrate that. What happened to the last 2,000?
No, I'm not asking you to celebrate. I'm just telling you the highest it has ever been.
Rainy season comes, electricity goes up. Our electricity is based on hydropower generation, largely, because we haven't been able to get gas to fire all the gas-fired.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask you to allow us to take a quick break. When we come back, we carry on delving a little bit further into what you intend to do with the economy and perhaps get to hear a little bit more from Malam Magashi. Don't go away. You are watching The Candidates.
Daria Media, in association with Cabal Entertainment, presents The Candidates, a presidential town hall meeting series where the presidential candidates of the 6 leading political parties tell us about their plans for the country. Join Kadaria Ahmed as she leads us into the world of these candidates from the 17th to the 23rd of November 2022. This very important program will be streamed on FRCN, Radio Now, DSTV, NTA, Facebook, YouTube, and more. This is a town hall meeting you shouldn't miss. Tune in. Let's hear from the candidates.
Choosing where to study is one of the biggest decisions you will make in life. So, it is important to get it right. At Coal City University in Abuja, Nigeria, we pride ourselves on providing students a stable academic calendar and education of international standards. Coal City University gives students incredible personal attention and support. You can enroll in our regular programs and obtain a degree exclusively awarded by Coal City University. Alternatively, you can enroll in our International Pathway programs, which will enable you earn 2 degrees in 4 years from Coal City University and Delaware State University, United States. Visit www.ccu.edu.ng. Coal City University, education for self-actualization.
Welcome back. You are watching The Candidates, a Daria Media Town Hall series brought to you with the support of the MacArthur Foundation and in partnership with the Nigeria Television Authority, Cabal Entertainment, YouTube, News Central, Citizen Zukoko, the Network Service of Radio Nigeria, and Emmanuel Chapel. Now, let us join one of our remote locations. Let's go to the University of Ibadan, where Niron is on standby to help us with engagement with the candidates. Hello, Niron.
Hello, Kadoria. How are you doing? I can see that it's really getting interesting in the studio there. Okay,
we can't hear Niron, so we can see him.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, we can't hear him here in the hall, so the candidates need to be able to hear him.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear that, Mr. Shore?
No, very.
No, he can't hear, so... Okay. All right. While they're sorting that problem out so that we don't waste time, are there questions in the studio in here? No? Okay. Oh, there's a question. Okay. Please tell us your name and ask your question. Yes.
My name is Famino Ajefe. I'm a broadcast journalist. My question to you is, give us 3 points, because even with the power question, for example, you haven't told us how. You've gone back and tell us the problem of even when it was in the public sector. When I was growing up, there was up NEPA. So even in the public time and when it was not privatized, we still had power issues. So tell me 3 points now, how you're going to solve the insecurity issue in Nigeria currently.
Specifics they're looking for.
Yeah. First, we must understand what is driving insecurity in Nigeria. It's because people have not had opportunity over these years. We haven't invested in our people. And we now have people who are completely cut out of the benefits of existence and citizenship in this country. And so to solve the security problem, first and foremost, people must think beyond just the idea of shooting at people who are terrorists or bandits. Understand that Nigeria's security problem have various dimensions to it. If you look at the map of Nigeria, look at the northeast, the reason is terrorism. The northwest has banditry. You go down, there's militancy. You go to the east, there's insurgency. And then there's general crime. But the biggest insecurity facing Nigeria are government officials who are fueling poverty and engaging in corruption, because that's how we got here in the first place. But for me to solve it first and foremost, and I'm sorry to say this on national TV, if it requires bringing in mercenaries into Nigeria just to end the kind of biting insecurity we have now so that people can even have a chance to sleep and rest at night, I'll do it. That's number one.
Okay,
the second is to start rebuilding our military and security agencies. I'm sitting with 3 days ago, I was sitting with all the major security agencies in this country at the police headquarters in Abuja. And I tell you, one of the most pathetic things I heard from the table, and I'm not going to mention the name of the officer, they were whining over the fact that the US was declaring that there's going to be attacks in Abuja, and it has to do with US politics. And I'm looking at the man and say, why didn't you take action? You are the one who is supposed to tell the US to be ready for evacuation because there's insecurity. But the US is telling you, you kept quiet, and you are here complaining that the US has reasons, extraordinary reasons why they told you that. Because you all have failed. So personnel must also change, and we must ensure that...
you don't have confidence, is what you're saying, with the current people running
in
Nigerian
addition,
security.
and I want to say this, the Nigerian security armed forces do not have a commander-in-chief. That's number one position within our command structure for the security agencies.
So she asked for 3 things.
We don't have anyone.
Mercenaries, you said.
Yeah.
Rekitting and retooling the army.
Including remuneration, retraining, collection of intelligence, processing of intelligence. But finally, and I must make this clear, without putting a social security system in place, without wiping out or at least reducing inequality, without investing in education, you can't do anything about insecurity. China has more guns than Nigerians. What eventually solved the insecurity problem in China is social investment in their people. They have empty apartments.
Have you calculated the cost of your specific actions, the cost of the cost of retooling, rekitting?
I have done that.
And how you would pay for it? What numbers
I have
are we
done that,
looking
and
at?
I've come to the conclusion that it actually costs less to do what I need to do than what is costing us now for doing nothing.
For doing nothing.
Or doing the wrong thing.
Where will you find the money?
Wherever they are finding the money to do the nonsense they are doing now, stealing. You understand?
Okay. Before I go to the quick remote location, Madam Magashi, you are from the north, and of course we now have the northwest has become a basket case, just like the northeast, because of the kidnappings. We've seen the pastoralist clashes, etc., etc. As someone who's sort of living that life, surrounded by people who are facing insecurity, is there anything more that you would encourage your party to do, or you within your party you are discussing, in addition to what Mr. Showore has said he would do?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
I have said this before. These insurgents, kidnappers, bandits, where have they come from? From the very society, from our community. They did not cross the border and settle Nigeria and started shooting people anyhow and stealing people. So it is very important for a government to understand the nature of the society. What is the cause of this insurgency? What is the cause of this banditry? In recent days, we have seen two incidences. Let me mention them. One of the bandits, kingpins, was turbaned as a traditional ruler in Zamfara state. He came to the palace, he was turbaned, he offered interview to some specific journalists. Another incident is that recently the infamous Bello Turji, which is the most common name of bandits, he came to the town and attended a wedding fatah of a relative of his. After he left, there was an attack and he lost some relatives actually. So if these bandits, these terrorists have roots in our society, they communicate with our people, they interact with our people, I believe the government needs to come to the community, get to the root of these people and understand why are they into this and propose solutions to that.
Okay, let's quickly run to because I'm really keen that we get all 6 places to talk to the candidates that we have here. I don't want it to become an interview. Ibadan, we're coming to you. Nero, good evening. Can you hear us now? Yeah, Neron's mic, which is so, Ibadan was so crystal clear yesterday. What's happening to Ibadan? We can't hear him in here. Okay, let's go straight to Bayero University, Kano. Can Kano hear us? Today we seem to have big technical problems. I apologize for that. Okay, audience questions for Mr. Showore? None? There's yes.
Good evening, Mr. Showore and Dr. Magashi.
Thank you.
My names are Nwafo Christiana Ifeanyi from the disabilities communities here in Lagos. My question is, sir, if you become the president of Nigeria come 2023, what are your programs, in terms of social protection for people with disabilities in this country, and your agendas for the inclusion of PWDs in your governance? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you for coming here today. And one thing I've hated so much about Nigeria is that people with disability, people we call special population, have always been used as a signboard for occasional intervention. But look at what you guys give to this country in terms of pride in the Olympics. You are the ones who have likely won the most gold in this country. But after we collect the gold from you and we do the paparazzi as usual, we abandon you. let's start thinking about policy. I've never seen a government boss in this country that has a ramp for this, people with disability to get into the bus or get up. Not even the federal government building has a ramp that I know of for you. So part of our social security policy is to ensure that all of you are known and well documented and are given the support you need to survive in our society. What I mean is that not only do you deserve cash transfers on a regular basis, in fact, on a 2-weekly basis is what I would recommend, but you need to have opportunities to go to schools wherever you want to go to school and ensure that a great percentage of your own population and representation in the country is also assigned to you in terms of existence in government and places that government have investments. Not that we'll say, well, there's not, maybe they're probably planning another ministry of disability so that a person who doesn't have any of these concerns or challenges will be the head of the place. So let's have a ministry, several policies that makes you feel like,
Okay, so
make you whole again, be part of Nigerian society in a way that we don't treat you as if you are not part of us, or you just need occasional intervention.
Before you do,
Yeah.
in 2019,
Yes.
the candidates was instrumental in getting President Muhammadu Buhari to actually sign the disability law so that they now actually have, a legal framework for rights for people with disability. I'm wondering whether you are familiar with that law and if you have any criticism of it as it currently exists.
No, I've not read the law.
Okay.
And I treat everything done by President Buhari with the same attention, lack of attention, because I know he may not have even read the law he signed himself.
Right.
We see him doing that all the time. I'm talking about what I would do, not what they have been doing.
Yeah, but if you
what
already
they were
have an
doing-
existing
No,
law,
if
surely
what they were
you have
doing
responsibility to
if-
familiarize yourself
If
with
there's
it.
a law in place
Yes.
that promotes inclusion of PWD, so special population like she's talking about, she won't be here complaining, right? If the laws were working in your own interest.
Yes.
So it's apparent that that law is inadequate and insufficient.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be basing my own future policy
Okay.
on laws made by Buhari.
Malam Magashi wanted to say a few things.
See, I had a glimpse of that law, and it is a bit inadequate. It needs to be improved. It is a good thing that it is in place, but
Right.
it is inadequate. I work along with an organization with the persons with disability in the north, and my chamber in Kano has offered to suggested to offer free legal services to people with disability in the event of anything that comes as a result of their position or in the enforcement of the provisions of that law. And that agreement is still there.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Any more questions before we try to hit one of the remote locations again? People in the audience? Okay. Right. There's a lady in white.
Mr. Shore. My name is Rabi Ismail.
You need to take off your mask, perhaps, because you're muffled. We can't hear you. No, we can't hear her. So I'm going to, while they're trying to sort that out, we're going to Bayero University, Kano, who are ready for us. Bayero.
Good evening and welcome to Bayer University Kano. My name is Stephen Enoch. From the studio,
We can see him,
seems
but again, we
Showore
can't
has
hear
a lot
him
of-
in here.
Can you hear me?
There's a problem with the sound in the actual studio. We can't hear him.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, let's deal with other things while we're waiting for them to sort out that technical problem so that we don't... on the issue of insecurity, for example, there are many people who say that the decentralization of our security apparatus contributes to our inability to respond. And one of the issues that come up repeatedly when people talk about restructuring is that maybe we need some sort of community policing, state policing. I know that you're not comfortable with that. Why is that not a consideration for you? And when it comes trying to solve our security problems, why is bringing policing closer to the people not an option?
No, I've never said I'm not interested in community policing. I've always said I believe that there is not enough community intervention in policing.
Right.
And that I will sign up not only on state policing, campus policing, local government policing.
So I misread.
Yes,
what,
most
yeah,
have been.
okay, yes.
Town policing. I live in a place in the US, a small town of less than 3,000 people. They have a police department, and they have about 7 vehicles. There might be more.
So state police controlled by states and community police controlled by communities.
Yes, because we have 3 tiers of government in Nigeria. Right. We have the local government, we have local government, state, and federal. There's need for federal police, no doubt, but federal police cannot enforce laws that are state laws. Most of the laws, including, I think, murder in Nigeria, are state laws. So the states are the owners of the laws that needs to be prosecuted when an offender is involved. But the police that is involved is not controlled by the states. Right. So I'm in support of state police. But let me expand further that not only do I subscribe to that, but that the Nigerian Constitution is one of the biggest problems at this point when it comes to foundational issues like this. And that's 1999 Constitution as a fraudulent document written by some military brass.
But factually, that's wrong. People keep repeating that it was written by the military.
Wrong.
No.
Maybe for people, who did not understand military rule or who didn't
we
fight
have
the military.
A lawyer. Let me tell him my understanding of the Constitution, and he can
What's
tell
your
me.
own understanding of the Constitution?
My understanding of the Constitution we run is that it is primarily based on the 1979 Constitution, and that 79 Constitution was actually put together by a team.
It's a Constituent Assembly.
Yeah, but they were all civilians, led by FRC Williams.
Yeah. But
and that was what was adopted and adjusted.
So what I'm saying is that
keep talking about a military constitution. It's very misleading. There were no
military constitution because a constitution must be promulgated into existence.
They do not have the mandate of Nigerians to adopt the constitution.
So why it's fraudulent is the preamble. We, the people of Nigeria. Any book you see that tells such a lie, brazen lie.
So the people who put it together were representative of Nigeria. No, from all indications, they were not military people.
They were military people. They did. They were not. It was promulgated by a decree.
Yes, but it wasn't put together by soldiers.
It was put together by soldiers.
Together lawyers and people from across.
Obasanjo was going to be sworn in 1999. They don't have a copy available because they were still looking for printers.
Okay.
Another thing, yes. No, let me finish. That constitution, let me tell you this, and I'm going to ask you to do your research.
Yes.
That 1990 constitution was so bad that a portion of it was found to mention America in it because it was copied from, part of it was copied from the US Constitution.
That is not my understanding. I have never heard this. I don't know my understanding.
There are a lot of things you don't know that I know. That's why I'm running for president.
Okay. The things that are on the record officially about.
What is this
with all seriousness, the things that are on the record.
We're serious. So what I'm saying is that if you want all these great things for restructuring to be put in that constitution.
Toby was the person charged, is his committee that put together that constitution. My understanding of the way it worked is that they went around the country, took a lot of input from multiple stakeholders.
We're talking about 1999 constitution now.
Yes, back and recommended. 79 was put together. You are mixing up things.
Nikki Toby.
You are mixing up things. And you know what you are doing, Joe. You know exactly what you are doing.
Nikki Toby was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly put up by Obasanjo, if I'm right. That was supposed to make a constitution.
And they came back and said
that the
consensus was 79 with amendments.
No,
and that was what was passed and what we now use. Anyway,
you should have put fact checkers here.
So you want a new constitution, a brand new constitution?
Brand new, yes.
How are you going to achieve this?
The people of Nigeria deserve one. And it is their own wish that is paramount.
I'm asking about the how.
Yes.
People want a lot of things. The issue is the how.
All these other presidents of Nigeria have tried to create a constitution. The reason they didn't come into existence is because did not satisfy their own personal interests. Obasanjo did it, but he wanted it for third term. When it didn't happen, they threw it out of the window. Jonathan did it. He wanted 7 years tenure instead of the usual 4 years. When it didn't work, 2004.
That's
Yes,
a claim.
they threw it out of the window. We can, if it is the consensus of the people, if the people want a new constitution,
the people
because
have,
where I'm going,
have representation in the National Assembly.
Please, they do. Where I'm going is that the National Assembly have been amending the constitution. If they was working, we wouldn't be talking about constitutional amendments. But you see, even lawyers say it. I think it's a Latin word that you can't build something on nothing. The guy who is in charge of the amendment of the Nigerian Constitution in the National Assembly is the one they caught in London trying to sell kidney. So because he has we're using it to make money.
I don't have millions to settle libel. And,
they can sue me now.
No, seriously.
But this is not libel.
You have to be really careful about. No, seriously.
I am saying that the guy in charge of constitutional amendments in the National Assembly for the longest time. It's Ekweremadu, Senator Ekweremadu.
Okay, so if you are,
and it's also a fact that he's jailed in London because
he's not jailed. He's been tried.
He's sitting.
We need to be very
careful.
careful.
In London.
He hasn't been found guilty. He's been charged with
jail
a
and
crime.
detention interchangeably.
No. This is the law.
No, but it's true.
No. Charging somebody is
That's
different
why
from
I'm telling you that you are wasting your time trying to amend the constitution using the Nigerian National Assembly.
So let me focus on your vice president, who is also a lawyer, right? And I just want to try and find out that the reason I'm asking about how you intend to do this is that even if you do go ahead and win the elections like you're trying to do, you're contesting, it is possible. Given the footsteps of AAC across the country, it is very unlikely that you have a majority in the National Assembly. So unless you're saying to me you're going to be dictatorial, the question that I'm asking is valid about how you are going to convince members of the National Assembly who have tried to do just constitutional amendments without luck because they couldn't get the unanimity they need in sort of state houses of assembly,
they were
etc.
building something on nothing.
How are you going to convince this same set of people to change your constitution?
Okay. Do you want to hear from me or you want to hear from
I think I want to hear from him, then we'll come back to you.
All right.
If that's okay.
The first step is to have constitutional conference where...
But we've had many before. So there's nothing original about the idea of a constitutional conference.
If you are setting a constitution, at least this 1999 constitution was not a product of any constitutional conference.
We can keep going back and forth. Okay, I'm listening.
Certainly. So you need a constitutional conference where every segment of Nigeria would be participating, would be represented. With that, if you have all what it takes and you come up with a document that is a real representation of the people, then that is when you present it to the assembly for ratification. Probably some few things may be checked and unchecked. Then the next process is having it gone round to the states assemblies. If you have all that, then the constitution would be adopted as the people's constitution.
I'm sure you can see I'm smiling. And the reason I'm smiling is that there are people listening to you and will say, clearly you've never been in government and you don't understand the difficulty of consensus. Because we've seen people try to do this again and again.
They throw things around because they've never, and I understand this about Nigerians.
Right.
You've never seen or had a set of leaders or any leader that make things work for you. So the standards are very low. So you've never seen anybody that made something work from nothing. I have done it before. I studied geography at the University of Lagos, graduated 6 years later, traveled to America, had a master's degree in public policy. I did not work for more than 2 years. I started a global website, never written before as a journalist. So when I'm telling you that I can make things happen in this country, I can make it happen. I'm one of the few young people in this country. When most of these presidential candidates that are going around now, when they were hiding under their bed and saying that the military leaders of our time should transmute into civilian leaders, following them or that they should never leave power, we said we would deliver democracy into this country. I was 22 years old. I made it happen 10 years later, not by myself alone, but so there are people who have the mind, the courage, the composure to see into the future and know that a few people can change their world.
Okay, so
I
can
was
I say
saying-
something?
yes.
Can I say something in
So
response
when
to
people
that?
throw this blackmail at us,
No,
that
it's not blackmail. The truth is that we know from experience that activism can be determined, driven by one person. But democracy, governance requires a collective effort.
You are never-
And this is really where I think many people say you fall short, because you seem to think you can do things by
many
fiat.
people were saying I fall short. In 2019, I was here in front of you in 2019. You guys were laughing at me. The person you elected in 2019 that you were happy about, look at where he puts you now. No, it's true. Are you imagining?
Okay. Yes. I have to admit, checkmate. Let me go to remote location before Shore kills me here. Kano is ready. Bayero University. Say a few things, please, so we know we can hear you. I can see them, but again, I don't know what is going on with the audio today. It's been
Can you hear me? We are live
we
now.
can hear you now. Great. Okay.
All right, good evening and welcome to Bayero University, Kano. My name is Stephen Enoch. Well, from the conversation, it seems Shorea has a lot of plans for Nigerians, and students here are curious to ask so many questions. We have Amatullah Idris and Hadiza Abubakar. So we'll just take Amatullah first, and then we'll go to Hadiza. Amatu.
Good evening. My name is Amatullah Idris from Bayero University, Faculty of Law. I have two questions, and my first question goes thus. Some candidates have planned to commercialize the educational sector, especially the tertiary institutions. What are your specific plans to ensure that education is accessible by all Nigerians, irrespective of social class or strata? And my second question is concerning the female students of tertiary institutions regarding to inclusivity and affirmative action for women. What tools will you employ to ensure that women are actively involved in various sectors of the Nigerian economy? Thank you.
We have another question from Hadiza Abubakar.
Thank you. My name is Hadiza Yahya Abubakar from Mass Communication Department, Bayero University, Kano. So my own is, when Nigeria closed its borders in August 2019, people were optimistic. We were all hopeful that it might work. However, till date, even though proponents believe it's helped in curbing arms influx. Okay, wait. The outgoing administration, they say the aim of that was to protect farmers, reduce arms influx, or to curb arms influx, and at the same time boost our local production. But till date, we're still in hunger. In fact, the hunger is even increased, unlike before. There is more, the level of poverty is very, very high. And at the same time, there were reports that the farmers in the border communities, they became the victims of the border closure, which was supposed to protect them. They said security agencies there used to extort them. They extort them, saying their farm produce are no longer permitted. So they extort millions of naira from them. So what I want to know, dear candidates, what we want to know, dear candidates, is if you were elected, what would you do differently in this situation? How will you eradicate hunger? How will you do more good than harm if you were elected? Thank you.
Those are the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bayero University. These are extensive questions that I'm sure require detailed answers. And I have just a few minutes before the break. So I think what we will do is we will take the quick break. And then when we come back, dive straight into answering those questions. You are watching the candidates. And we are in conversation with the candidates of the AAC. Don't go away. Stay with us.
Daria Media, in association with Cabal Entertainment, presents The Candidate, a presidential town hall meeting series where the presidential candidates of the 6 leading political parties tell us about their plans for the country. Join Kadaria Ahmed as she leads us into the world of these candidates from the 17th to the 23rd of November 2022. This very important program will be streamed on FRCN, Radio Now, DSTV, NTA, Facebook, YouTube, and more. This is a town hall meeting you shouldn't miss. Tune in. Let's hear from the candidates.
Choosing where to study is one of the biggest decisions you will make in life. So, it is important to get it right. At Coal City University in Enugu, Nigeria, we pride ourselves on providing students a stable academic calendar and education of international standards. Coal City University gives students incredible personal attention and support. You can enroll in our regular programs and obtain a degree exclusively awarded by Coal City University. Alternatively, you can enroll in our international pathway programs, which will enable you earn 2 degrees in 4 years from Coal City University and Delaware State University, United States. Visit www.ccu.edu.ng. Coal City University, education for self-actualization.
Welcome back. You are watching The Candidates, brought to you with the support of the MacArthur Foundation, airing on Nigerian Television Authority and other partner channels like News Central, Zikoko, YouTube, Radio Nigeria, and Radio Now. Now, before the break, we had a few questions from Bayero University. And before I hand to you, we also have one online question. So I just want to tag it along so that you answer everything all at the same time. This one comes from Daltum Bade. And he says, climate change is one of the major issues Nigeria is facing. Recently, we've seen how flooding has ravished communities. And this is as a direct result, some of it, of climate change. How will you address this? So if we start with Bayero and then end with that.
All right. With regard to Bayero, I wanted to address the issue of border closure. I was in detention during the border closure hoopla, and I must tell you that the closure of the Nigerian border is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. You cannot close what you don't have. Nigeria doesn't have border. I don't know why anybody will make such a policy. It's just like building a house, you put a massive gate in front of it, but the gate don't have walls. I know this because I used to pass through the border.
Is it that they have borders or the borders are just porous?
They are porous. They are porous. Even where there are official locations in the border, they are porous, of course, because of corruption. But most of Nigeria, boundaries are just outrightly porous. And I'm not going to say that I will build walls. No. But because part of the problem we have in Nigeria is that as long as our neighbors are poor, no matter how tall our walls are, we cannot drive them out. We care about our West African brothers because I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm not going to be closing
so you don't
border.
believe in immigration control and all that?
The reason the border was closed, as I laid out for that, it was the most bigoted thing and also most discriminatory thing against certain businessmen. Because why they closed the border, by the way? I was getting intelligence within the DSS that some businessmen were offered opportunity to still be moving their goods and services across the border. But the poor people were being criminalized for going to buy rice. As she said, after all said and done, which policy did it protect? If you say you want to be growing
more rice than we did.
The price of rice go down. You understand?
Well,
the
we're not
importation of rice
importing as
will go
much.
down. So why did you close the border in the first place? Waste of time. Then somebody also asked about education.
Education, yes.
And education for me is big deal because I wouldn't be sitting in front of you today were it not for a small, regional educational policy known as free education, propagated by the UPN and the Unity Party of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. When they brought to school to our village in 1980, it offered me the opportunity to start my education in a way that wouldn't have been possible because they used to take only 6 people out of our village to go to secondary school. The day that school was brought, to our village. We built it ourselves, and over 150 kids came out of the bush to go to school that day. That's how some of us had
So you
education.
will provide
So I
free
provide
education.
free education. I will fund
which
it.
levels?
My own is access and quality for education, because the education we don't invest in today is part of why we are dealing with insecurity and crime at the level. I'm not saying that if
will you
people are
rethink
educated,
the current education system?
Of course.
Or you are just going to take what we have and make
everything
it
has
free?
to change. You know, the curriculum has to change. I studied geography and planning. Before I knew about the river in my village, I was already known about the 5 lakes in the US. Our curriculum is useless. You know, it doesn't focus on getting people educated. It focuses on getting you literate so that you can work for somebody.
Right.
Yes, I want to put education in education and not just literacy. We need to be literate and educated a lot. And part of the reason why some of the questions we're asking that somebody says is not being up is our level of education. Otherwise, you can know that people who are determined, people who are desirous of freedom and change, can change their country. Every country in the world has changed. Started with some few people who said, we are going to make it happen. You know that in 1787, you will know it from history, that the US has some great men, they call them, some of them slave owners, jurists, that wrote the US Constitution. All of us know their names. You don't know the name of the people that wrote the Constitution in 1999 because they even ashamed to come outside and say that the one who wrote this nonsense.
We talked
The
about
military
it.
guys. So
We
what I'm
talked
saying is that
about it.
great people, great ideas, idealists, ideologues make great country.
And
that's, we are
I
short of
like
that.
the
We are short
passion,
of that.
Mr.
One,
Showore. I
the last
like the
question you
passion,
asked,
yes.
no,
So
were
we need to
changed
get
with me,
through the
is
question
issue of
because we still
women
have university.
representation.
Yes.
Yes. We have been treating women in this country as signage, you know, political parties in particular. Every time there's a rally, women arrive there first with the clothes. They are the ones who will shout and clap. When they are done, they are the ones who clap. But the truth is that women in current election role, that is the registration of voters, they are 51%.
Yes.
So practically, women can elect a woman as a president. Women should stop begging for percentages from people with whom, if you are 50% of voters, why are you accepting 35% of allocation for women? You know, go for 50% too. Our party,
But
we
I
allocate
want to hear
positions
what
to
you
women.
will do, not women
Yes.
should do. What
No,
will you do
it's
if
what
you
I will do
become
now.
president? Yeah.
For me, there's no reason for women to give women allocation of 35%. Let's give them the percentage of their population of the country, or let them take it. Because now they have more capacity to even elect leaders than anybody else. So,
But you know, you have to understand though, there are cultural. Let me finish
Yes,
now.
as we are talking about culture, as if you are not all here in the culture.
No, that's the point I'm making, is that there are things that make it difficult for women to take it, like
I
you say.
understand.
And in countries where these things have been taken seriously, representation has actually helped. So if you look at a place like Rwanda, making a conscious decision to put policy in place, to put laws in place, has increased.
Yes.
So when you say they should just take it, I'm saying that sometimes that's not a practical way
It is
to deal with these issues.
It is practical that if elections are legitimate, that is, if they are free, fair, and credible, that women in this country can elect a woman president. They are 51% of the population. They just need a few men. Their husbands, boyfriends, they vote for a guy, he wins the election. So if you have that kind of power, why would you be begging for?
Well, we are at a stage where, because of education, cultural situations, the
Any
laws,
culture,
everything.
any culture
So
that puts
what
people
will
in bondage,
you do if you become president for Nigerian women?
that I will not in any way. So let's start from governance.
Yes.
You know,
So your cabinet, what percentage?
Cabinet is going to be 51% representation.
Okay.
The number of women voters.
That's your commitment.
Compared to men. That's how we are going to do it. That's the statistics and calculation we are going to use.
Okay.
Do we have enough, because before we go, do we have enough women in our party represented? I'll say no, and I should apologize for that. But that's not the reason for us not to have a clear-cut policy that is just and fair towards women.
Climate
and not be
change.
using culture as excuse.
I'm rushing you because
our culture also don't allow men to steal. Why is it that they don't have a problem too?
Okay, climate change. There was a question
So
there, and in light of this recent
climate
flooding,
change,
yes.
a lot of people in this country, for instance, do not understand that one of our biggest crises right now, the herdsmen-farmers clash, started with the climate change issue in the Lake Chad region. The Lake Chad has now dried up to 10% of its size. So the herdsmen that used to have a great time around the Lake Chad area, disturbing nobody, they had to move southward. Reason, they are selling beef. Beef is a $4 billion industry in Nigeria, particularly in the southwest where we are today. Yoruba people, my people, there's nothing they don't eat when you bring a cow out and slaughter it. The nose, the ass, the legs, everywhere. But the truth is that because we have not applied the policies necessary to regrow, say, the Lake Chad, we are suffering from that mistake because nobody understood it.
So how will you deal with it? There's
a policy we have put in place, to re-energize the Lake Chad region. And part of it will surprise you. It's very expensive. Is to direct some of the waters from Lagdo Lake that is flooding Nigeria.
And where will you find the money?
Why are you always asking about where would we find the money?
Because you have to be able to fund things.
When we are funding thieves in this country, billions of dollars, they are stealing it. You are asking me where will I find the money when Nigeria has got money. The problem with Nigeria is not that we don't have money. It is that it's being shared by a few. If the little money we have is being used appropriately, your accountant general will not walk away with 150 billion, and that is not like that.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that,
Yes.
Joey, but if you do become president,
I will become president.
you will inherit almost from day one some of the issues left behind by these people that you're trying to replace, including empty coffers, at least in the first few days. How are you going to, what are the sort of things that you're going to do to find the sort of immediate money that you need? If you go into government today and they say to you, look, we have only 1 month worth of, reserves to import food. And, we do a lot of importation of everything we literally consume. We're not selling enough petrol because we're using the rest of it to service debt. These are international obligations that you can't wiggle out of, How will you deal with that?
You see, when I come into, and I'm saying this authoritatively, that I've done my research about money. And in 2015, right?
Okay, we're going to have to take a quick break because your audio has
This time
gone
I want
bad.
to say something good.
I'm sorry, they can't hear you. I'm so sorry. They can't hear you.
All right.
I've just been told by the control room that your mic has gone bad. And so rather than wasting your time, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, you can start again from the beginning, I promise. Let's take a quick break.
Daria Media, in association with Cabal Entertainment, presents The Candidate, a presidential town hall meeting series where the presidential candidates of the 6 leading political parties tell us about their plans for the country. Join Kadaria Ahmed as he leads us into the world of these candidates from the 17th to the 23rd of November 2022. This very important program will be streamed on FRCN, Radio Now, DSTV, NTA, Facebook, YouTube, and more. This is a town hall meeting you shouldn't miss. Tune in. Let's hear from the candidates.
Welcome back. You're watching The Candidates, where we're in conversation with the candidates of the AAC, Mr. Showore and Malam Magashi, who want to become president and vice president in 2023 and are asking Nigerians to elect them. I want to recap the question we were dealing with so that, for the sake of those who are just joining us. We were having a conversation and I was trying to get a sense from you of where you would find the resources to do all the things you want to say. And you said Nigeria is a rich country. And the point I was trying to make is that if you were to go into government today, there are few things that will happen. You will inherit, for example, a budget that has already been signed. You'll be inheriting all the deficits. You'll be inheriting the debt and a whole bunch of, things that are a little bit messy. And so I think it's a valid question to ask you how you will navigate those things within sort of coming into office.
And I'm saying that in 2015, one of the persons almost single-handedly responsible for helping government negotiate the use of the money that we have been purchasing arms that would have been used to fight Boko Haram. Honestly, government did recover some of that money, but they will get it. I've done my own research because I will have a transition team that will go to work as soon as the election, I'm declared winner of the election. And I have found over $6.4 billion owed by oil companies to the Nigerian government. When I talked about it, they said they have paid it down to 2.3 billion now, but that's still solid. The Revenue Mobilization Agency of Government, RMAFC, said there are government agencies, this is not unknown people now, who are refused to return revenues worth 11 trillion naira. Help me add that to 2.1 billion at the exchange rate of today. You see, my budget is already being balanced.
But you can't do all of that until they swear you in May.
No, the transition team can reach out to them and say, look, Mr. Ashore is coming in, please.
They don't have to listen.
Well, if they don't listen...
Because you are not president.
No, they will listen because they know that I've legitimately been elected as president. I'll tell you, during when Buhari came in 2015, for the first time publicly, when he thought he had anything to offer,
What do you mean they? Didn't you campaign for him?
No, I'm talking... I didn't run in 2015, but I'm saying the NLNG dropped $4.5 billion Nigeria's dividend publicly for the first time. To the Nigerian treasury. And I heard that's how the government started. Since then, they have not dropped any money that we know of publicly. When Shure comes, I'm sure they will get that message very clearly. So you see that I'm balancing budget. We are not talking about borrowing because Nigeria's problem with debt is not the biggest problem. Our debt to GDP ratio is one of the lowest. Our problem is revenue to GDP.
Yep.
And we have already discovered where these revenues are leaking and how we can quickly put a lot of money together
can
help.
When you talk like that,
with regards to the budget,
Yes.
you review it. If it needs that we send a new supplementary budget to the National Assembly, we will do that.
Okay. I want us to dive a little bit, but I think I understand University of Maiduguri might be ready. I'll come back to this budget conversation once we hear from University of Maiduguri. University of Maiduguri, you are ready or not?
Yes, we are ready.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, this is Musa Usman from University of Maiduguri campus here. And the students are keenly following all the discussions that have been taking place between you and Showere and his running mate. And we have two students who have some questions to ask. I'll start with Yusuf Tara, who has the first question. Yusuf.
Good evening. I want to use this opportunity to welcome the AAC presidential aspirant to this interactive session. My name is Said Yusuf Tara, and my question goes like this. Mr. Sore, I am your follower on all your social media handles. I follow you on WhatsApp, Instagram, and what have you. In all your life, you have been an activist, fully participated in NSAS protest, a promoter of Revolution Now, and also in some occasions you support the agitation of Biafra. So my question is that, how will you ensure a secure Nigeria without creating social unrest and without violating human rights? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So the second question is from Sado. Sado, please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Sado Banya from University of Maiduguri. The presidential aspirant has addressed the issue of tertiary education. I would like to know what plans he has for the millions of out-of-school children in Nigeria, practical solutions that will bring the menace to an end, and also about insecurity. Several administrations have come and gone with policies and programs, but it's sad that insecurity is on the rise. So I would like to know what new strategies will you implement to curb insecurity? Thank you.
And thank you very much, University of Maiduguri. There are a few questions people have sent via email and Twitter, so I will add them to these questions and then you take it from there. Ozu Emena says, do you believe the unity of Nigeria is negotiable? Valid question, given that from Maiduguri we've heard questions around Biafra. The same person also says the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics says about 133 million Nigerians are poor. How do you intend to lift more Nigerians out of poverty?
Yes. So the first question is the same as the first one you read out, which is the unity of Nigeria. And I think this is where people misconstrue the word unity, as some kind of unbreakable bond for Nigeria. I need to give a little bit of historical background to Nigeria, that Nigeria was not even put together by Nigerians. It was put together as a business by Lord Lugard. In fact, when Lugard was creating Nigeria, he had already created Port Harcourt. And the reason they created Port Harcourt was that they discovered coal in Enugu. So they needed to export the coal. And then Port Harcourt was created in 1912. Nigeria was created finally as one entity in 1914. So I am telling you that a country put together as a business did not become a nation. What are you killing yourself for? I believe that Nigeria can be united with justice. The Northerners are the most worried about the issue of unity. But if you look at the Northerners, they were actually the first to be reluctant for Nigerian independence because they felt like they were not ready.
I think you will find that actually that's an assumption. It hasn't been tested.
No, I'm saying it not to.
No, I'm just saying it's an assumption. There's not maybe you can ask
yes,
your
I'm not
your
demeaning. What I'm saying is that they put a lot of thoughts into joining a united Nigeria. That's why they delayed the independence for a few years. We would have had independence around 1950, but the Northerners were not. They were thinking about it. They were consulting.
The
so that's the
Civil
point.
War
So
was
that means that even at the onset, the people on that side of the divide had to be sure that they wanted to join Nigeria. So everybody that came to join Nigeria was forced into that unity. For us to now make the unity happen, we must create a perfect union. That's why I talk about the Constitution. Because that's what happened to Americans after the Brits, they defeated the Brits. They wanted a perfect union because at that time, there were blacks, women who were being oppressed.
So the right to self-determination for you is
I completely
sacrosanct.
believe in the right. In fact, if we put it in our Constitution, the right to self-determination, Nigerian leaders will be more serious about governing Nigeria.
So we should have some sort of mechanism that allows
Absolutely.
for a referendum.
The reason I'm calling for is a fundamental right recognized by United Nations. The reason I'm calling for a new constitution.
Let's
so that Nigerians can put in that constitution.
And I know that the people in Maiduguri...
Nigeria decide to challenge the unity of Nigeria through a referendum, not that you just walk
violence,
away.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
violence.
I know that University of Maiduguri questions are waiting, but we've got Ijoma in Enugu. And I just want us to go to her, and then you can combine all the questions together. Can you hear us?
From Coal City.
Oh, it's Ifoma. Sorry, Ifoma. Hi.
Good evening from Coal City. I'm Ifoma Ajimobi, live at Coal City University in Enugu. And the engagements have been quite insightful. Thank you for the platform once again. The students have questions, plenty of questions for the candidates. And we have Grace, Chiso, and Jonathan on standby with their questions. Jonathan, let's hear Jonathan's question.
My name is Jonathan Ani from Department of Microbiology. Sir, what do you intend to do about subsidy?
We'll hear from
subsidy.
Summa right now. Summa.
My name is Summa Uboke from the Department of International Relations. Mr. Shore, it is not new to anybody that most public office holders have decided to send their children abroad to study. And for this reason, they are insensitive to the plight of an average Nigerian student caused by incessant strikes. Sir, as a former student union leader, how do you plan to put an end to these industrial actions, to these incessant industrial actions in public universities?
Oh, I thought Grace, we missed Grace. Oh, okay, all right. Praise.
There's a lot of religious and tribal agitations in our country today. Now, I want to know, most people actually feel maligned or like slandered based on your belief. When you become president, or if you become president, what do you want to do about this? Curtis is also on standby. Curtis, let's have your question quickly.
Okay. Final one from Enugu, and then we'll come back to the studio, please.
Curtis.
Hello, my name is Joshua Curtis, BK Jr. So my question is to you, sir. If elected, what will you do differently in the areas of extrajudicial killings, especially those committed by the Nigerian police and our armed forces? We know of the SARS era, the things that they do. What will you do differently that the current government hasn't done? And then also, how do you include young minds like my humble self into the governance and also make us able to make decisions for others who are young like us? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a whole bunch of questions.
And I didn't hear some of them, but I heard that of it.
Okay, so we'll start with the ones you heard, and then I will.
We started out of the lady who was talking about what we'll do to end the incessant strikes, and the fact that the rich people are sending their children at the expense of those children of the poor abroad. See, this is something I know very well because I track this, and you're a journalist. We used to do this together. I track how much money is spent in sending children of the rich at the expense of the poor to school. You discover that an average son of a politically connected or politically exposed person going to a school in the UK is spending over maybe £200,000 a year, the big schools. And if you break that down to Naira, it could almost build a building, a structure that has over 6 classrooms that is of the highest standard. They are stealing it from you. That is why I said, as part of our policy, that whereas we have no right to stop anybody from sending their children to school abroad, but they also have no right to steal our money to send their children to school abroad. And as a result, those monies that are retained, we will use it to give study grants to students that are going to school in Nigeria. In Denmark, Norway, students are paid to stay in school to the point that sometimes when they are supposed to spend 4 years in school, they spend 6 because they don't want
what's
to go.
The population of Denmark?
No. Stop talking about the population. The population of Nigeria is big. The problem is the population of the thieves, which is not big, but are taking the biggest of our resources. So we want to stop that. Let everybody who can afford to send their children to school, send their children to school. It's your problem. But don't steal government funds to send your children to school and then prevent students who are supposed to have access to their own national resources.
Please take note
them
of
stay at home.
my follow-up question. And the reason I will ask it now is
and I wanted to answer
I don't want you. Yes, I know. I don't want to interrupt.
Let him join our party. This is a youth party. No more ancestors in government when we win.
No more ancestors. Yeah. There are a few more questions I need you to deal with. And when you are done with them, perhaps come back and talk about how you deal with corruption, since you were talking about how to deal with the money. Okay, so somebody asked what your, whether you remove subsidy.
Oh, subsidy.
Yes.
I think we should stop calling it subsidy.
Okay.
That's maybe it will make it easier. That particular name has been demonized. The subsidy they say we have in Nigeria is a subsidy of the oligarchs, the people who are importing petrol alone. When you take crude out of Nigeria, crude, after the state has the capacity to get a lot of products, including your hair shampoo. We take our own crude out, we go with a whole crude. When we are coming back with just gallons of petrol, kerosene, jet A1, and that's all. And we see petrol at nose. Our solution is to repair our refineries. And before you shout, oh, Showore has come again, you are helping one man in Lagos to
But
finish
this government has already said that subsidy is going out in June, so presumably you don't disagree.
I'm not taking, what I'm saying is that whatever the poor people of this country can enjoy from government, the only thing they enjoy, we'll keep it. But we will not allow the oligarchs to add their own bill on top of it. Let me tell you, kerosene is not subsidized.
Yes.
How is it that it's not giving us any palliative? Diesel is not subsidized. Why is it that we are not getting anything in return for unsubsidized diesel? So they just criminalize and demonize subsidy as if you can't support your citizens.
So you must.
I'm not from
you must-
Nigeria. Let me just put this in. I'm not a U.S. citizen, guys. Hear this out. While COVID was going on, the U.S. government sent me 3 checks. I was in detention. They were sending me money. I'm not even their citizen. Is that not subsidizing your citizenry? Our own leaders, they were hiding palliatives. Not true. From the people, until the people went and liberated the palliatives in Jos. Did you not hear that? So we cannot keep saying that government does not subsidize. Government subsidizes everywhere. In fact, the most subsidized people in Nigeria are the elite, the oligarchs.
The problem is I'm not too sure that anybody here doesn't know what the problems are.
I'm giving you, I'm saying,
So
I told
talking
you I'm
about what
not
has
removing
happened.
subsidy, but don't call it subsidy so that they make it look bad.
Okay, so
We must support our citizens who are vulnerable. There are 130 million Nigerians who have been thrown into the poverty market.
way?
How do you just treat them as if they are nobody?
Is your practical plan? Because I have to assume
I've
you've
talked
thought it
about repairing
through.
refineries. You have 4 refineries
How are you
in
know?
Nigeria.
You will carry on subsidy until refineries have been
Fixed.
sorted.
And when you fix
How do you
refineries,
ensure?
you will have more than enough.
How do you ensure
Yes.
that the subsidy, like you said, is not stolen and you only pay for the subsidy that goes directly to the people? I'm asking for practical plans.
Was I not
now.
the one who outed all the subsidy thieves on Sahara Reporters in 2004? Did you forget? I know them individually. By the time I come to government, they know that they're out of business. And then, because I know them, I know all the people who are in charge of stealing subsidy money in Nigeria. I'm not saying this to brag. I know them, they know me. I know what each one of them is stealing. I know people who were importing water into Nigeria under Jonathan, who called it petrol.
Okay.
Did it not happen?
Okay.
That
Let
they
me
were
bring in
prosecuted, they were
Malam.
arrested, but they were never prosecuted till today.
Let me bring in Malam, because another issue that Nigeria seems to have is the cost of governance.
Yes.
You know, a lot of money and resources going to maintain essentially a tiny minority of people. I mean, people would argue a government is essential, civil servants are essential, but perhaps we're not efficient in the way we sort of run our government, etc. What are your thoughts regarding the problem with the sort of cost of governance, and what is your party thinking of doing about that particular problem?
As you said, everybody knows the problem. Cost of governance is high in Nigeria, and it needs to stop. How do we stop it? Nigeria has 3 arms of government. You have the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. Take a look at every arm. What are its functions? What are its divisions? What are its roles, those under it? And what does it consume? There is agitation that people are calling for scrapping of the Senate for the reason that they consume a lot of resources, and the people think that the country can go on without the Senate. So
I like that you brought it up, because the question is, how do you convince a group of people to commit suicide? Because for you to actually go from having 2 chambers, National Assembly, in the National Assembly, the Senate has to vote to accept to be scrapped. So what is the strategy for convincing them essentially to get rid of themselves?
convincing the people that brought them to the Senate. They didn't work on their own.
It sounds great. And you get claps for it. But you still haven't told me how. So you convince people. So I'm in Kano and I'm convinced I don't want a Senate. Then what? At the moment, what are you going to use? What provisions? How are you can't do it with unless they pass a law saying they can be scrapped.
Yes, in the first place,
yes.
I am not saying we would scrap the Senate.
That's what I heard.
I think people are agitating for scrapping of the Senate.
Okay, you start working towards it.
Yes, we can't scrap the Senate on our own. We have to convince the people to say, look, we don't need the Senate. In fact, beyond just the Senate, which is the coven of all these former governors, it's even the the lower House of Representatives. I think we should make it part-time. That's my position. So that anybody coming there should have another job. Already, they are operating as a part-time lawmaking body. I think the Senate, according to Premium Times, didn't sit for the allocated amount of times that ought to make them a full-time Senate. So they're already practicing part-time work. Let us pay them part-time salary as well.
Okay.
I would have preferred if someone like Saraki
I'm wondering why
was practicing as a doctor and as a legislator.
I'm wondering why you focused.
Because there's
Let me
shortage of
ask you
doctors.
this question. I'm wondering why you focused on the Senate and not the House of Reps. And I'll tell you why. The Senate, unlike the House of Reps, ensures equal representation for every state. So every state has 3 senators, not 4, not 5, So everybody in the Senate, in terms of representation, is equal. Whereas House of Reps, there are variations which many people find unfair because they're driven by landmass, by population, by that sort of thing. So Kano State, might have more legislators than, say, Zamfara State or Enugu State.
Let's grab the House of Representatives then.
Right.
Yes,
So because I was trying to understand why you chose Senate and not House of.
We came to that conclusion because most of the people in the Senate don't even have any reason to be there. And our goal is to reduce the cost of government. And I also add, apart from putting the legislative arm into size, because South Korea doesn't have a Senate and they are doing well. Senegal doesn't have a Senate and they are doing well. We also want to reduce a lot of baggages in federal ministries, departments and agencies. For instance, I don't know any reason why Nigeria should have a minister and a minister of state. They are doing essentially the same job. Get rid of the minister of state, keep the minister. A lot of organizations have replicated duties. We wipe them out.
Again,
and reduce, and this will have impact because we are looking about a compact government. We are not going to deny it. I agree with you completely that the cost of governance is too much and it's very top-heavy, and it includes the presidency. And I don't want to repeat it here that they have a fleet of jets that Buhari said he wanted to reduce. He just kept increasing it. So what we are saying is that the cost of governance is too much. I even worry why any Nigeria president needs an Aso Rock, which can be converted to a children's hospital. The president doesn't have a family that's huge enough to be living in that zoo, as they call Aso Rock, that is fenced in 3 places. Whereas if you go to the White House of the US, it doesn't have that many bedrooms. If you go to number 10 Downing Street, I don't know how many bedrooms are there, but there are not as many as number 7, one building in Aso Rock. So I'm just using that as an analogy on how much we spend wasting our money doing nothing.
So presumably when you get in there to determine what should go and come, there would be some sort of process.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying that the constitution needs to change. For instance, if we don't change the constitution, we can't scrap. You look at the beautiful argument you presented now about the House of Rep. You have just put them in trouble. Now we are going to be taking.
No. Because no. I wasn't presenting it to make an argument. I was just trying to understand the business. Because the House of, let me tell you the advantage that they have that the Senate doesn't have, is that they are also where you find minorities that are never represented anywhere. So communities.
All of the arms have to go.
Right?
That's
okay.
In our view.
We are running fast out of time. So let me take a quick break so that when we come back, we take a few more remote locations and we try and wrap up this conversation. You are watching The Candidate. The candidates of the AAC are Mr. Ele Showore and Malam Magashi. Don't go away.
Daria Media, in association with Cabal Entertainment, presents The Candidate, a presidential town hall meeting series where the presidential candidates of the 6 leading political parties tell us about their plans for the country. Join Kadaria Ahmed as she leads us into the world of these candidates from the 17th to the 23rd of November 2022. This very important program will be streamed on FRCN, Radio Now, DSTV, NTA, Facebook, YouTube, and more. This is a town hall meeting you shouldn't miss. Tune in. Let's hear from the candidates.
Welcome back. You are watching The Candidates. And we're going straight to the University of Abuja, where Ruth is on standby. And please note, we can only take 2 questions. And if you can keep them tight, we really would appreciate it because we're running fast out of time.
There at the University of Abuja. I must say it's been an interesting conversation there with the AAC candidates. The students are excited to ask some questions, and like you said, we'll take just 2. So I'm starting with Kuram Sokojas. Kuram?
Hello, good evening. I'm Kuram Sokoga from Economics Department. My question is, in view of the present state of economic recession, inflation, the degradation of the Naira, and balance of trade deficit, what are the steps you want to take as incoming president to solve all these alarming issues that has brought about economic breakdown? Secondly, in consideration that we practice the Keynesian economic system, as to the fact that governments play a key role in controlling the forces of demand and supply and market participation, what are the steps you have to put in place to improve government's functionality in major sectors of the economy, such as production industry sector? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's quite a handful. Raphael is next. Raphael.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Echobu Raphael Ikwebe. My question is, if and when you're elected as president, what are the steps you're going to take to raise Nigerians' confidence in government? As an average Nigerian has lost total confidence in government and governance and their ability to ensure and provide basic responsibility, perform their basic responsibilities of theirs are met, which include are not limited to social amenities, security of life and properties, and all that, etc.
Thank you very much, University of Abuja. And because we have 2 other universities, so we don't get confused, if you dive straight into those answers, keep them short, and then we take the other universities.
The first question is, the amount of intervention governments can get.
So the economy keeps coming up again and again.
And government has a duty to manage the macroeconomic policy of the country. And when we say this, we also have a duty to ensure that our monetary policy is tight. I mentioned it when we started that Nigeria's central bank is just a glorified, bureau de change right now. We will change that when we come in to ensure that we have a central bank team, not just a governor, who understands what the monetary kind of policy we need to stabilize the Naira in particular.
But it does need to be independent, so you won't interfere.
Independence, that's what I'm saying. The government has a role to play in taxation. It has a role to play in generating revenue. The central bank is the bank to the government. Yes, that's what the central bank is practically about. This
the
independence we are talking
about. To drive monetary policy.
They are supposed to drive
based
monetary policy
on the sort of what is supposed to be best for the economy.
In charge of rates, and the things that can help your currency be solid and have purchasing power and have, its ability. They also control our foreign exchange processes and foreign reserves. But government cannot just say, well, the central bank is independent to the point that
the criticism of this central bank and the reasons that many believe they got it wrong is that actually they were too close to government.
It's true. That's what I'm saying is BDC now. If you know the central bank governor, you can just get dollar in the money.
Again, I can't be sued though. So I'll come to you and collect money.
Why you are talking to a fellow journalist like yourself?
Let's carry on. So answering that question of the economy.
So what I mentioned earlier, that in all of this, one calculation that people don't make when it comes to Nigeria, they eliminate completely or refuse to discuss standard of living. All of this, fiscal policy, monetary policy, all kinds of policies are supposed to make life better for the citizens. And that is where the conversation about purchasing power parity comes in. What is it that if I want to buy this shirt in the US is a cost? And what will it cost me in terms of Naira to buy in the country? If I'm not producing it, it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It costs me more because my currency is weak.
Okay, so and there was a question sort of related to that, which was about productivity. Because at the moment, we're not very productive.
You can't get into product. You can't have a production argument in Nigeria without fixing the power sector, the energy sector. And that is why I keep discussing how to bring lights and discuss about energy and energy transition and to look at a variety of energy sources and how we can be a real participant in international market for
Malam
these
Magashi,
products.
can you take the question on confidence and how you can rebuild confidence in governance and government, given where we are today?
To be brief, what do the people want from the government? If they get what they want or what they desire or what they expect, they have confidence. They need peace, security, justice, social amenities, and what have you. So if we are in government, we would ensure that all the, let me get back to something legal, all the provisions of Chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution are provided to the citizens. If the citizens have a food to eat, have a shelter, have an education, they won't need anything and they would respect the government that supply that.
So it's a question of basically if the government keeps his side of the bargain,
Certainly,
the contract between citizens and government. Okay.
Contract.
I have to go now quickly to the University of Ibadan, and Nero is joining us. Hello, Nero. Good evening.
Good evening, Kajoya. I hope you can hear us now.
Yes, at last. Happy to see your face and to hear your voice.
All evening. Anyways, a very interesting conversation there, and I'm going to go straight to the point. We have two questions from the University of Ibadan right here. And I have, first up, Odion. Odion, step up for the question.
Good evening. My name is Odion Sani Ebiaye. I'm an electrical engineering student from the University of Ibadan. First of all, some might argue that the last time Nigeria was divided was before the civil war. I mean, that's in the religious and the ethnic sense. Now, you said something about those who want to break out of Nigeria can seek legal means. But how did you, Showore, want to promote unity in Nigeria? That's the first question. And the second question is, in recent times, we've seen a lot of thousands of Nigerian healthcare workers travel out of the country for greener pastures. And reports even show that the ratio of doctors to patients in Nigeria is 1 to 9,000. So how do you plan to combat this problem? So do you want to carry out healthcare reform, and how do you want to go about that? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and the second question is coming from Olajuwon. Olajuwon.
That will be the third question.
Sure. First and foremost, I would like to state that talk is cheap. Most of the answers to the questions have not been quite specific. So I will implore you to be very specific in my questions to you now. For instance, we were asked how you were going to stop stealing of subsidy, but you didn't quite give an answer. You just said they will know they're out of business once you are in. How exactly do you plan to get them out of business, knowing fully where the corruption fights back? And again, I will move quickly to education. I would like to know how exactly you're going to prevent the recurrence of ASU strike in very specific time. And if you become the president of Nigeria, Mr. Showore, what will be your stance on no work, no pay, as the federal government of Nigeria is stating now? Because it is very clearly stated in the Constitution, in the Trade Dispute Act, that government might decide not to pay workers who do not work. And again, very quickly, Mr. Showore, on climate change, President Muhammadu Buhari has said that he's calling for more urgent investments for facilities in Africa. What exactly is your stance on climate change? And last but not the least,
that's a lot of questions.
Last but not the least, what exactly is the economic policy? What is your monetary policy? What exactly is your fiscal policy? Please, that will very.
Nima, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for that. With less than 15 minutes to go, can I urge you to be really short with your answers? And I can prompt you one by one again if you want.
Maybe you can prompt me, yeah.
Yes. How would you promote unity? You've said you believe in the right to self-determination, but if you are president, how will you promote unity?
Well, if you give justice to all the sectors, nobody will want out of Nigeria. You see, people who talk a lot about Biafra, they also forget that the Yorubas also have their own agitators. There are people in the Middle East, there are middle belts who also want out of Nigeria.
Yeah.
But what people have never talked about is that a lot of Nigerians have actually mentally seceded from Nigeria. How do you calculate? The Japa syndrome? It's because of people have seceded. They
Okay,
are
so
the only people
Japa,
who are trapped.
healthcare.
Yes.
This straight into the next
Yes.
question.
So, what's your next question there?
Healthcare.
Healthcare.
With doctors leaving and all of that, what's your
Exactly.
plan
So
for
what
solving healthcare?
we need to do specifically is to invest in healthcare. And I have said it, we need to have a healthcare system that accommodates all. And it is not socialism, it's the right thing to do, it's compulsory. It's investment. You have to invest a sizable amount of your budget or revenue in ensuring that hospitals are working,
Okay,
drugs are
what sort
available.
of system?
You have an
Is it
insurance. Ours is the insurance
Okay,
policy,
okay.
but it's not the one that is going to be exploited or stolen by through fake HMOs.
Okay. So at the moment, there's a new healthcare act that the president has, brought into law, which makes it completely compulsory for every person who, employs more than anything from 5 up to provide healthcare for their person. And if you're an artisan, you're also by law supposed to go and sign on to some sort of HMO. What would you do differently from what already exists?
I think it should be the duty of government, our government, to provide healthcare for all.
Okay.
And not leave healthcare to employers who the burden of healthcare provision might force them to either be forging the number
So
of
you
employees.
would be
Yes, but
finding
we
the
will still
money.
have a contributory
Element.
system to it for employers, of course. But it won't be such that you ask employers to take over the entire healthcare of their workers. What about when the employers then fall out of business? Who takes care of the employees?
The person from Ibadan that said talk is cheap is not satisfied about the specificity of your answers. He said, for example, how are you going to stop them from stealing? Especially since we know corruption fights back traditionally. He's also asked you to discuss the ASU issues and whether you respect this idea of people don't get paid unless they
I don't
actually
respect the
work
people.
and all of that.
When the strike is just,
Yes.
you have to pay the strikers. It's not, they didn't want to do this. It was government that forced them to. If you want to start stopping the pay of people who are not working, I think the president will be number one because he barely work. It's true. Yeah. So, and the truth is that these are things that escalate the problems. You can't keep escalating the problem by engaging in things that make our higher institutions are too important to be played with technical parts of laws. Let's put the money they ask for. They are specific about how much they want. Let's find the money and give it to them. And make
But their demands go beyond money. There are 7 demands that ASU is making of the
and
Nigerian
the demands have been the
government.
same since the 90s.
Yeah,
Because in the University of Lagos when Jega was
So
president of ASU.
you wouldn't rethink education at all, like some people are saying, create a situation where universities become independent, they're able to get endowments, and
education is too
private,
important.
because
Let me
in
explain
other
this
places where education works,
Yeah.
education is not as cheap as it is in Nigeria.
Education
So people actually, if you look at how much we pay to train doctors,
it's not also as expensive as they think. In the 90s, the IMF and the World Bank came to this country and said, don't invest in education. It's too expensive, it's waste. Let people pay for the education. But the same people came back and recruited 8,000 doctors from the education they didn't want us to invest in 1990. So this is hypocrisy.
Victor
You cannot compare
is on
education to
standby in
anything.
Bielsa, and I don't really want to waste their time because they're the last school we're going to. But you still haven't talked about, the thieves, yes, who are stealing the subsidy, yes, but talk is cheap. How do you intend to fight
I don't
them?
belong to the category of talkers. If a student, he should go and do research about me at the University of Lagos. I'm not a talk is cheap person.
Okay, let's go to Victor, who is in Bielsa, and join our last remote site because they've been very patient. They've been listening.
Thank you for a very detailed conversation there at the studio, and it's not a lot of comments here at Bielsa. We have 2 questions that will be asked. I'll call on Honorable Eddie on the floor to ask the first question, then we'll move to Honorable Alawi.
Yeah, good evening. I am Honorable Chief of Hospital Study of the Summer, the former legislature. Kindly answer this question. Without a big operation, the bulk of the wealth of Africans for the crude oil in the Niger Delta region And for 20 years, the entire environment, the system, has been abysmally polluted, disorganized, defaced, disintegrated, and bastardized. And the people impoverished with the oil blocks predominantly in the hands of people outside the region. Should you become the next president, how would you redress this repugnant imbalance?
Thank you.
Okay,
We'll take one more question quickly, please.
Okay, good evening. My name is Alawi, public servant. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the candidate for putting himself forward. It's not easy. I feel that the right time has come for good people to equally put themselves forward. Briefly, my question: if you become the president, what will you do with the presidential amnesty program? But recently, the news is everywhere that this government has decided to wind down the presidential amnesty program under 6 months without the government keeping inside of the bargaining. And this is causing a lot of problems in the Niger Delta. So what will you do? Thank you.
Thank you. Victor, if I could ask you, Victor, can I ask you to quickly recap that second question? Because it wasn't very audible. We could barely hear him.
Okay, the second question by allowing says that the amnesty program by the federal government, there are news that it will be stopped very soon without any proper plan. If Mr. Sowore becomes the president of Nigeria, what are his plans on the issue of the amnesty program?
Okay, so thank you very much, Victor. Two quick questions. The Niger Delta produces the bulk of the wealth. They pay, the highest price, no development. What are your plans on redressing that imbalance? And on the issue of the amnesty program?
I'll start with the amnesty program. I think it's become a cesspool of corruption. But I like the program, and I'll develop into a concrete.
So you like the principle of it?
Yes, I like the principle of it because I brought peace to the Niger Delta. But that peace cannot last on the basis of this ad hoc-ish intervention in Niger Delta. The amount of money you are giving to amnesty can be used to build universities that will train lots of Niger Deltans.
Locally.
And you could have finished the roads, the East-West Highway that has now been washed away. A lot of development could have come from that. What I would agitate for is for the Niger Delta region to get a larger portion of the oil resources. So to that extent, you can say that I'm biased on the side of resource control. But anybody that is listening to me today should know that the word resource is dynamic. So if one day the northern part of Nigeria is producing solar energy, electricity for the rest of the country, don't come and tell me that they don't have a right to also get a part of that resource.
What I seem to be hearing you saying is that you're not quite 100% how to deal with this issue, and you're still thinking it through because you think it's dynamic.
I'm from the Niger Delta. Do you know that?
I know.
Yeah, so I could have qualified as a militant. so I understand the problems. You see, because part of what we should understand here is that problems that are well understood, there's no reason for us to be parading any level of intelligence that the solutions to Niger Delta for a lot of Nigeria, but it's not a thing you can resolve on a TV interview for 2 hours. With regards to those who say, be specific. If you want to see specific, ask for manifesto. And we have manifesto online, by the way, on Showred 2023.
And by the way, some of your manifesto issues seem to be at odds with your personal issues. So page 32 of your manifesto, for example, they talk extensively about carrying people along in order to get things done. But when we listen to you sometimes, we almost feel like you are marching at it alone because you think you alone can do it.
The fact that I'm passionate about how fast Nigeria should have developed doesn't mean that I don't carry people along. I believe in people. I've been on the side of the masses. The injuries I've suffered the most, I've suffered because even when I could have been comfortable, I come back to take on battles with others. So you can't claim that we don't carry people along when we organize some of the biggest.
Okay, we have just about 5 minutes to go. So I want to ask one final question of you and then use the remaining 3 minutes, if you answer it quickly, to allow you to wrap up and sort of give your final message to the electorate. I noticed that when you set up the party AAC in sort of 2018, you started out as chairman, then you became the presidential candidate and therefore had to step down as chairman. You lost elections and then became chairman again of the party. And you've now stepped down again to run for the elections. How come? Is it that there aren't people qualified enough to chair your party? Because the optics of it look like this is a Showore party, as opposed to sort of something that encompasses a diversity of people, if you keep moving from chairman to presidential candidate and back again.
I'm glad you asked, and I want to answer you directly. We set up the party in 2018, and we sort of decided in agreement with INEC that we'll have interim leaders until we go to a convention. And the convention of the party was supposed to happen after the 2019 election because we didn't have much time. When the election was over, the party was hijacked.
Yes, you didn't get a chance to enter into all that trouble.
So we couldn't go to convention.
Right.
And I was arrested when we were protesting against and going to court about it. And there was no opportunity to do any election until we won in the Court of Appeal on June 2nd. So when we won, elections were 6 days away. We had to run around the country to set up. That's why I stepped down again. As soon as this election is over, we will go to a proper convention. And I promise I'm not going to contest as party chairman again.
Okay. Literally in 30 seconds, Malam Magashi, a final opportunity to speak to Nigerians, the electorate, and tell them why the duo of you and Mr. Showore represent the best option for Nigeria.
I will urge Nigerians to read our manifesto. There is something very important that we have not talked, but we don't have time. Something that is sticking on the knob of the northern part of Nigeria, that is the Almajiri system. We have a very versatile and workable framework for the Almajiri system to work. I assure the northerners that if we get into power, there would not be Almajiri that would be begging. We would separate that aspect of Almajiri, that is studying religious
big problem
knowledge and the begging.
Yeah, Mr. Showore, 30 seconds, your final words to the electorate.
You know, the meaning of Almajiri is somebody who travels to seek knowledge, not somebody who begs.
Yeah.
So it's very clear on that. But Nigerians have seen the difference. I'm glad that I ran in 2019, and I wish you elected me and did not select somebody who didn't win the election to lead you. This time around, we're looking forward to credible, free, and fair elections, and we hope, having heard from us, those of you who are undecided, that you know who the right person is to lead this country to liberty. We want to put liberty on the ballot.
Mr. Yele Showore and Malam Magashi, thank you so much for joining us. And that's it for the candidates for today. Tomorrow, we sit down with Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and Bishop Idahosa of the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP. Please join us. And I want to thank our partners, Cabal Media, NTA, FRCN, Zikoko Citizen, News Central, Kaftan TV, so many of them, actually, whose names I can't remember, Silverbird, Radio Now. Thank you so much for taking this conversation out. Trust TV. See you tomorrow. It's now time for the network news of the NTA. Have a good evening.
Like
brightest entrance to the latest technology. Welcome to Intel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit intel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Intel. Live more.
The Federal Character Commission, FCC, wishes to clarify that it is not a public employment generating agency, but an implementation organ of the Federal Character Principle. Its key mandate is the enforcement of the principle of equitable representation of all zones and regions of the country to reflect balance in recruitment and the distribution of resources. The balance targets fairness in ethnic and regional representation in all federal government ministries, departments, and agencies. At the core of FCC's mandate is the protection of the interests of all Nigerians, irrespective of ethnicity or place. Please note that the FCC is not recruiting for public agencies, as the MDAs have the mandate to do so.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Character Commission.
We are the innovative company that is standing out in printing. We are Dev Global Link Limited, your all-in-one stop for printing, from scratch to finish. Our services include digital and offset printing, security printing, direct printing on textiles, corporate gift items, including billboards nationwide. Head office, number 6, 7, and 9, Lafayette Street, opposite UBA, Area 8, Gariki, Abuja. Call 091-3559-9999. We are Dev Global Link Limited.
Dario Media.
As 2023 general elections draws nearer, political activities continue to heighten.
The history is set to repeat itself. We are here in mass, women and youth, ready to come out to seek for help.
Budget defense continues as National Assembly intensify efforts to pass appropriation bill by December.
We have a comprehensive report here that covered all what we have done in the commission in the last 2 years.
Street gangsters. Former President of Obasanjo holds retreat, advises on turning a new leaf.
You must be ready to change your direction for good.
Good evening and a warm welcome to NTA Network News. I am Jumma Yusuf. Michael Olale will join us from Lagos later. Don't forget to follow these news broadcasts live on our website, nta.ng/live. Follow us on our Twitter handle on NTA News Now, as well as other social media platforms displayed on the screen. Now, former national chairman of the governing All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshomole, has expressed formal appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for demonstrating genuine support and desired goodwill for the party's presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ahead of the 2023 elections. Mr. Oshomole was in the State House to register his appreciation to the Nigerian leader for his resolve to remain at the forefront in the task of ensuring that the APC retains power for the sustenance and consolidation of its worthy legacies. He expressed absolute confidence in the ability of the party's candidate to have a landslide victory at the polls.
Those of you who were in Jos or who monitor the Jos flag off, you saw Mr. President sitting for about 5 hours. I mean, that is showing of leadership, commitment, and consign to the party. He could have said he's doing his second term, so he's not going to go and dissipate energy and all that. But you saw what he did, which shows that he's truly our father. I thought I should come and say thank you. If you then ask me how we are doing very well. Whereas the other candidate now has several governors working for him. We have 23 working for us, and we have pie who are neutral. You know, when you are voting, when I was in ILO, you vote for, against, or you abstain. Abstention is as good as voting against. So however you look at it, our candidature, our campaign is going smoothly, and the message is very clear. It's very clear. As I've said this way, it cannot be better. You saw us yesterday in Owerri. For me, that was perhaps one of the best outings we've had. You listen to our candidates, you listen to those who spoke in Owerri. Some of them offering to contribute towards the campaign because their concerns have been addressed by the APC candidate, because election is about interest.
Mr. Oshomole, who was former governor of Edo State, is the Deputy Director General of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. President Muhammadu Buhari warmly felicitates with men, particularly in Nigeria, as the world celebrates another International Men's Day. In a statement, the president reiterates the pivotal role of men in ensuring a safe, peaceful and progressive environment, given their positions in families, governments, communities and leadership in religious, traditional and political institutions, while recognizing the strong, influential and significant position of women in building nation over the years, with evidence in their rising profiles. The president especially urges men to be guided in protecting and promoting democracy in Nigeria by ensuring full participation in the forthcoming elections, adhering to regulations and exploring redress in the courts. President Buhari urges men to take the front row in safeguarding and protecting national assets and shun acts of violence in line with the theme, Men Leading by Example. The president commends the local organizing committee of the day for setting an agenda for the 2023 elections and remaining faithful in sensitizing men to be more patriotic, responsive and inclusive in decision-making at home and in public. Security Matters, a high-powered committee of retired top brass across military and paramilitary agencies for the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Security and Intelligence Directorate has been inaugurated. The committee, which has the mandate of redesigning and implementing all issues related to the peaceful and transparent process of the APC campaign programs, have resolved to hit the ground running. The director of the committee, Major General Abdul Malik Jibrin, says the committee is not unaware of the challenges that lies ahead and has ensured strategies are mapped out to contain any rancor and disorder that might arise during the political exercise.
For now, the committee has been working, but the only thing is that we have not been able to come together like we have done today. And with this, it means that our activity has commenced in earnest, and it will be over and above what we have been doing before.
The committee promised to be meeting on a regular basis to review situations as they unfold for a preventive rather than a reactive approach. Politics. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, and the Grand Patron of the Tinubu Shetima Women and Youth Presidential Campaign Organization has flagged off campaign with the call on the team members to remain committed and focused towards ensuring victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shetima in the 2023 presidential election. The First Lady stated this in Ilorin, Kwara State, amidst party stalwarts and other supporters from across the country. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
This set the tune flag of the Tinubu Shetima Women and Youth Presidential Campaign, with participants cutting across length and breadth of this country, focusing on the commitment to galvanizing support of all Nigerians towards ensuring victory of the APC. The First Lady, Aisha Buhari, who is the Grand Patron, Tinubu Shetima Women and Youth Presidential Campaign Organization, reaffirmed her readiness to engage actively in the campaign to deliver Tinubu and Shetima in the forthcoming 2023 presidential election under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, which she described as a best choice for Nigerians.
The Women and Youth Presidential Campaign Committee has become a movement and proved to be the game changer, leading to door-to-door campaign and victory for the APC at the presidential election 2015. The victory largely attributed by the young men and women of our party who trooped out in unprecedented numbers to vote for our party to take over the mantle of the leadership of the country. And today, having our candidate, Ashwati Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Shatima as the vice presidential candidate, the history is set to repeat itself. We are here in mass, women and youth, ready to come out to seek for vote.
The wife of the presidential candidate Oluremi Tinubu, who is also the chairperson of the campaign team, the governor of Kwara State Abdulrahman Abdulrazak and his wife Olu Folake, APC national women leader and other party stalwarts called on Nigerian women, especially from the APC, to engage massively in the door-to-door campaign to propagate the good policies and programs of the APC, assuring more dividend of democracy if Tinubu and Shatima are elected.
During the Tinubu-Shatima administration, we as the wives are assuring you of our continued support and as we stand with our husbands to bring succor to the less privileged and the unemployed youth by encouraging entrepreneurial skills and doing all that is within our power to ensure that we all live in harmony despite our ethnic and religious diversity.
The event was also attended by the wives of the governors of the All Progressives Congress. In Olorin, Kwara State, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has organized an umbrella rally day in Lagos to seek the support of eligible voters in the 2023 general elections for the party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. Abolade Salami reports that party leaders and loyalists marched through some major streets in Lagos.
The PDP umbrella rally took off from Fadiyi en route Obanikoro to Maryland along Ikorodu Road, where party faithful came out in their numbers to register the interest of PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar to the people of Lagos. Member, Board of Trustees, Bimbola Ogunkelu, said the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is positioned to deliver dividend of democracy to Nigerians.
Come 2023, we are looking forward to our leader, Atiku Abubakar, becoming president of Nigeria.
Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has promised to ensure that there is devolution of power, which is very, very key.
Party leaders in the states urged teaming supporters to aggressively take PDP campaign to nooks and crannies of Lagos states with a view to garner more votes during the presidential election.
So Atiku is the best. He will bring everybody together. He will unite everybody.
This work that has been tagged Umbrella Day is to show to Lagosians, to show to Nigerians in general, that the PDP is indeed ready to take over power.
The umbrella rally also created an avenue for the party to promote the Atiku Okowa manifesto to Lagosians. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
The presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Prince Adewale Adebayo, has reaffirmed his party's commitment to eradicating poverty and uniting Nigeria if elected in 2023. He was speaking while responding to questions on the town hall and presidential debate series. The candidate, Garbanata Allah, reports.
The SDP presidential candidate, Prince Adewale Adebayo, was speaking while responding to questions on the town hall and presidential debate series. The candidate saying his party vows to unite Nigerians.
Everyone would agree that we need to give food stability to our people, housing to our people.
Shelter.
We need to give them water. We need to educate to the point where they can make a decision about their career. We need to guarantee health care to our people.
In an engaging exchange, the presidential candidate responded to a series of questions on his development plan and promised to create employment opportunities for youths and revamp the nation's economy if given the mandate.
To balance the country in such a way that everyone has a sense of belonging in the country.
The candidate is a presidential town hall series that airs on NTA and FRCN by 7 p.m., which commenced on 17th of November, with different parties and candidates selected to discuss their template for national development.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, says he intends to change the existing system of government in Nigeria. He described as capitalist to a more socialist system for the benefit of Nigerian masses. Showore, who was guest on the program The Candidate Presidential Town Hall Series aired on NTA, emphasized that an economic system directed by IMF is not necessarily people-driven and counterproductive.
It is that we believe that an economic system that we have been running, especially since the 80s, which is driven by the Bretton Woods institutions, the World Bank and the IMF and their likes, is not the right way to go, because that's what ruined our industries. These are the economic policies that put us where we are today. And we want to change course and direction with regards to that.
Pointed out the need to restore the energy sector and curbing insecurity as his prime target to transform the nation's economy for the well-being of Nigerians. He said he will restructure the security architecture and may adopt the use of machineries and robust social investment.
But the biggest insecurity facing Nigeria are government officials who are fueling poverty and engaging in corruption, because that's how we got here in the first place. But for me to solve it first and foremost, and I'm sorry to say this on national TV, if it requires bringing in mercenaries into Nigeria just to end the kind of fighting insecurity we have now, so that people can even have a chance to sleep and rest at night, I'll do it. That's number one.
Okay,
the second is to start rebuilding our military and security agencies.
This is the second time Showore will be contesting the presidential seat of power after the first attempt in 2019 under the same party. We pause for some messages. The news continues shortly. Do stay.
When we are asleep in the night, they are awake. When we are awake in the morning, they are still awake. In the bush, air, land, and sea. Every time, anytime, everywhere. They are our security forces. In season and out of season, standing in there for you and I. Standing in there for our nation to keep Nigeria safe. Let us always support them. Let us pray for them. Let us help them to serve us better, to serve the nation better. Let us support the federal government of Nigeria. Together, we can weather the storm. Vital information, call
091 35 90 4467.
They say nothing good comes easy, but with determination and sheer focus, Boa Foods finds new ways to put food on many plates. We produce competitively priced sugar, flour, and pasta that are highly sought after by our corporate and trade partners. At Boa Foods, we remain committed to lead with purpose and make a difference by embracing the responsibility to meet Africa's growing food demand. We dare to lead, so can you. Boa Foods, nourishing lives.
My people, my name is Emeka. Mekus Kamat. Let me get all this people. I don't learn my lesson. Somebody come buy motor for my hand, carry big money, come give me. Now when we get bust, then my eye open. I don't know to that 419 be. Now when EFCC grab him, then they come grab me too. Now he make me they warn you all up when I want to do business like me. Where they carry big money, well I go sometimes I go carry transfer, carry bring back. Yeah. They could shine in my eye because the special control unit against money laundering, what they call SCUMO, they don't want to say if the money pass 5 million naira for individual,
no collect them. If you pass 10 million naira for company, no collect them. Can I go where? Bank. If you not do them like that, 250,000 naira for every day where this offense happen. Or they go suspend your license. Or they go cuckoo, shut them down. For your hand. No talk say, I know one you.
This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Experience the future of emerging technologies at the 2022 Zenith Bank Tech Fair, taking place at Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos, on the 22nd and 23rd of November 2022, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Theme, Future Forward 2.0. Participation is free, courtesy of Zenith Bank PLC. You, however, need to register your attendance at www.zenithbank.com/tech fair. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Does your toothpaste give you complete fresh protection? New Close-Up Toothpaste Complete Fresh Protection takes care of your 5 important oral care needs. It gives you strong teeth, prevents tooth holes, cleans deeply, fights bacteria, and gives you fresh breath. Complete fresh protection from Close-Up.
Fellow Nigerians, at a time when our country is at such precarious crossroads, at a time when the enemies of the people are busy fanning the embers of insecurity under different names, at a time when saboteurs are working hard to slow the wheel of our economic progress, this is indeed the time to put our country's peace and progress above any other consideration. Just as we don't care about the religious, ethnic, or tribal identities of capable pilots and drivers who transport us safely to our destinations, the same should be accorded our choice for leaders who will pilot Nigeria out of the present array of problems confronting her progress. Countrymen and women, let's give a trial for the sake of our future and generations to come.
This message is sponsored by Ambassador Dr. Fatima Mohammed Gumi, Grassroots Mobilizer.
Thanks for joining us. More than 200 indigents of Bauchi State who secured admission into the Malikia College of Social and Medical Science benefited from scholarship program of the APC gubernatorial candidate for Bauchi State, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar. Muazu Hassan reports.
Presenting the scholarship, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar says the gesture is aimed at assisting the children of the less privileged in the society to achieve their dream. He encouraged the beneficiaries to make best use of the opportunity in order to fill the manpower gap in the health sector.
The original concept was a government-private partnership arrangement, but unfortunately, government abandoned the idea. And that notwithstanding, the Tamaliki Bauchi was able to continue the idea of providing this structure and providing the opportunities to these young people that are here. And I want to commend him most sincerely, most profoundly for doing that. And I also want to assure him that at the appropriate time, we'll have a discussion with him on how to move this institution to a much higher level.
Seek to bring the private sector to partner with the state government to build additional health institutions in the state, to build the gap of manpower shortage in government hospitals.
Beneficiaries of the scholarship were drawn from all the 20 local government areas of Bauchi State. In Bauchi, Muaz Hassan, NTA News.
There are about 500 projects ongoing across the 6 states of the Northeast being undertaken by the Northeast Development Commission. Managing Director of the NEDC, Mohammed Al-Kali, said that these are the House of Representatives while defending the Commission's 55.6 billion naira budget proposal for 2023. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The Managing Director explains
Thus, the Commission now has a 10-year master plan with a financial approximation of 31 trillion naira. He says the Commission is also filling up gaps of other agencies in projects like roads construction.
We have a comprehensive report here that covered all what we have done in the Commission in the last 2 years, state by state, project by project, across all the 6 states, and we have categorized it state by state.
The House Committee on North-East Development Commission says that it will continue scrutinizing and appraising performance of the Commission on all appropriations to ensure judicious application.
As a committee that has a responsibility of oversighting the Commission, we are determined to provide the necessary legislative backing and any other assistance that will make the Commission achieve its mandate and objective.
The committee reassured determination of the National Assembly of fast-tracking approval. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The leader of the Federal House of Representatives, Alhassan Ado Doguwa, has again extended life-changing support to his constituents as part of sustainable efforts to make them productive Nigerians. Yahana Su Hassan reports on the latest intervention of the member.
Gathered here are women and youth of Tudun-Wada-Dogwa Federal Constituency in Kano State who have undergone intensive training on poultry production by National Lottery Trust Fund, facilitated by the Majority Leader, Federal House of Representatives Alhassan Ado Doguwa. Having concluded the training, he is here to give each of the trainees a starter pack and 100,000 naira for them to commence personal production with a view to attaining self-reliance.
It will, with that kind of understanding with the president and the executive arm of government, why you now see every member of the House of Representatives can be able to deliver one thing or the other. Some of these things could be in the area of empowerment.
Thank him for the support. Very proud of him with good deeds he did to us. We from Dogwa and Tudun-Wada, we are proud of him.
The House leader also provided more than 100 vehicles and many motorcycles to power door-to-door campaign of the All Progressives Congress.
This time around is a campaign for my own leader, whom I envy for the past 32 years, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are working for him.
He promised more supportive gestures to his constituent with priority to the most vulnerable. In Kano, Yahana Sahasa, NTA.
Now let's bring you up to speed with other stories as the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory has dismissed a suit filed against a former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, on the alleged offense of fraud to the tune of 544 million naira. In a judgment on the no-case submission of the defendant, Justice Charles Agbaza held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was unable to substantiate its case with evidence. Babachir Lawal was arraigned for his company's alleged role in a grass-cutting contract in the northeast of Nigeria. No fewer than 50 area boys and girls drawn from different locations in Lagos have met with former Nigeria's president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, in Abeokuta, Ogun State for a 2-day retreat designed to move them from the street to stardom. The retreat was at the instance of Echo Inspires Me, initiated by the popular female talking drummer Ara Lola Olamiwa Yemi. Delemo reports.
Beneficiaries of the Eco Inspire Me project between the ages of 18 and 30 narrated how they roamed slums, bus stops, major highways and markets doing menial jobs while some allegedly engaged in pickpocketing among other criminal activities for survival.
I'm working in garage. I do a lot of work in garage. I blend and I brought up in garage in the streets.
It's God that has the final say, but only what I just need from him to give me more grace.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, while mentoring the boys and girls, stressed the need to expose them to trades to change their lives for the better.
If you rediscover yourself and you know you are going on a wrong direction, then you must be ready to change your direction for good.
Inspire hope and expose the young ones who had lived in darkness to positive influences.
These guys have really gone far and gone deep. Some of them have lost all hope. But since we've been working with them, they have had a change of mindset.
Eco Inspire Me was launched on October 19, 2022 to take street urchins, drug addicts and illiterates off the streets of Lagos for meaningful and productive engagements. In Abuja, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
Michael is standing by with more reports from our Lagos studio. Over to you, Michael. Good evening.
Thank you. Minister of Transportation Muazu Jaji Sambo says recent security concerns over rail transportation in the country now belong to the past, as federal government is in placing better security architecture to ensure safety along rail corridors. He gave the assurance during an inspection tour of Lagos-Ibadan rail line. Adeni Taiwo reports.
Since the flag off of full commercial operation on Lagos-Ibadan Standard Gauge Rail Line by President Muhammadu Buhari in June 2021, the train service has become the toast of many Nigerians who apply the corridor. This is the first inspection visit of Transportation Minister Muazu Jaji Sambo to the headquarters of the Nigerian Railway Corporation since assuming office in July this year. Accompanied by the Minister of State and the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, the Minister was given a guided tour of signaling and communication system at the Operation Control Center by the Managing Director of the corporation, Fidet Ohiria, before hopping on the train for a facility tour of stations along the corridor. A brief stop at the wagon assembly plant at Professor Yemi Oshibaju Station in Kajola and the feedback he got from random interaction with passengers in Abeokuta Station further reassured the minister that the rail modernization project embarked upon by the current administration is making steady progress.
We have, by the grace of God, taken every step to ensure that the security of lives and goods on our trains.
The minister, who restated the resolve of the federal government to resume train operations along Abuja-Kaduna corridor later this month, also responded to clamor for more round trips.
You have to schedule these train services to cover a particular period of the day, from morning until evening. And so far, I think our trains are not oversubscribed.
The minister, who earlier applauded his predecessor in office for driving the rail modernization project, assured Nigerians that he will build on that foundation to push the frontiers of the project. In Lagos, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Apart from institutionalizing combative framework that will cut off the chain of supply of substandard products within the market space, manufacturers must start pulling their weight by creating unsafe haven for local production and distribution of fake products. Key players within the industry make the recommendations in Lagos at a workshop targeted at achieving zero tolerance for substandard products. With reports suggesting an average of 15 trillion naira loss to fake products annually, Nigeria is among top destinations for substandard products. Apart from loss of revenue, jobs, and investment, there are concerns about disasters having direct link with fake products.
Those who should be at the port, those who should be able to control based on the mandates of government are there to do the work. So SON should actually be given access to the port, not just any access, but allowed to carry out their work the way it should be done.
The major worry for business operators here is how to save their trade from imminent collapse in the face of competing fake products.
We know the shops that are selling our fellow member cables that are substandard. We share those names and SON follows through. So in that way, I am seeing the traction, and I'm sure my colleagues are seeing that as well.
Apart from stretching its tentacles and spearheading interventions, the Standards Organization of Nigeria still wants the industry to take a common stand against fake products.
The issue for us is to make sure that these substandard goods are completely eradicated, and we make it difficult for the customers to obtain them and the people selling them to have difficulty trying to peddle those products. If the products are not profitable people will not import them and bring them into the country.
Complementary to this is the enforcement of the Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program, known as MANCAP. The optimism is high, and it is an assurance to stakeholders here that once the various zero-tolerance approach is nurtured, their future investments will be well protected. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. The news will be back shortly. Please stay.
Welcome to the Glow Festival of Joy. It's a celebration like no other, with prizes like no other. 20 new houses to be won, 24 brand new cars, 200 sewing machines, 100 generators, 1,000 rechargeable fans. It's raining Giddy Got prizes this season in the Glow Festival of Joy promo. Dial *611# to enter and grab your share of prizes in this celebration of a lifetime. It can only be Glow. Glow Festival of Joy promo. Dial *611# now.
A State Committee on Flood Disaster Assessment, Fundraising, Palliative Distribution and Establishment of State Flood Trust Fund cordially invite the public to the launching of its appeal fund. The event is scheduled to take place on Saturday, 19 November 2022. Venue, Ahmed Bello Hall, State Secretariat Complex, Duse, Jigawa State. Time, 10 a.m. Chairman of the occasion, Alhaji Bashir Muhammad Al-Hatu, Wazir in Duse. Royal Father of the Day, His Highness the Emir of Hadija Alhaji Adamu Abubakar Maji. Chief Launcher, Alhaji Isa Girawa. Chief Host, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Muhammad Badr Abubakar. Chairman of the committee, Alhaji Bashir Muhammad Al-Hatu. Announcer.
Stubborn dark marks? Try new Nivea Lumina 630. Visibly reduces up to 10 years of stubborn dark marks in just 4 weeks. New Nivea Lumina 630. Get even and luminous skin.
Thank you. Hi there. You can price shop, but you're always saving on everything except for here. This is where you're throwing money down the drain. How? On this cleaning product. Impossible. You need the new Harpic toilet cleaner. With just 130 naira sachet of Harpic toilet cleaner, you save more. Harpic stick formula stays longer, so it cleans 10 times better. Wow, Helen! And it saves because it's only 30 naira, giving you a sparkling clean toilet and great savings too.
Every healthy family needs the right amount of energy to start their day. But sourcing for breakfast splendid blend of nutritious multigrains? Big wahala. With the new Kellogg's Gold Grain cereal, you don't have to go through all of that. So now, your mornings can look like this.
Go, 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 Gold Grain. Love the goodness of its multigrain. With protein and creamy tasty Kellogg's Gold Grain.
With vitamins and minerals in Kellogg's Gold Grain.
Go, 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 Gold Grain. Love the goodness of its multigrain.
Kellogg's Gold Grain is a breakfast cereal fortified with vitamins and minerals from the goodness of multigrains like maize, guinea corn, rice, and soya. Kellogg's Gold Grain.
True friendship, it lasts forever. True friendship, a gift we share together. No matter where you are, we're there together. Sharing moments, happiness is when we are together. We are together.
Multina, share happiness.
Kids, grown-ups, it doesn't matter. Have a cup of peak chocolate anytime and enjoy the delicious nourishment of chocolatey goodness. Peak. Reach for your peak.
Thanks for rejoining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has advocated the need to promote cooperation and understanding between the federal and state government for the overall interests of the people. The president, who was represented by the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, spoke at the inauguration of the Nabo Graham Douglas campus of the Nigerian Law School in Port Harcourt. Ogidi Inyekwere reports.
Described as the best facility for legal education in Africa and comparable to what is obtained in the Western clime, the Nebo Graham Douglas Port Harcourt campus of the Nigerian Law School was born out of the magnanimity of the Rivers State government to assist the Council of Legal Education in tackling the challenge of accommodation to forestall delay for eligible students to the legal profession. President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, says the Port Harcourt campus of the Nigerian Law School is a product of good cooperation and understanding between the federal government and the state. The president informed of the efforts of his administration to enhance the welfare of judicial officers.
It is a project which will advance the course of legal education, which is at the foundation of promoting justice and rule of law.
Elated Governor Wike says the inauguration and handover is a promise fulfilled. He revealed that Rivers State government has released 480 million naira for the running cost of the institution for 4 years, but appealed that concession should be given to Rivers State and a quota of students to be admitted.
We've done our own. We're standing in for you to make sure that our students, Nigerian students, have that benefit of learning in a very good environment. Everyone here must be spent in this law school.
Speakers commended the development model, saying it should be a template for other state governments to emulate. In Port Harcourt, Ogidi Nyekwere, NTA News.
Nigeria has joined the rest of Africa to mark this year's African Statistics Day. Muplank Dakok reports that the focus is on modernizing the production and use of agricultural statistics towards formulating and implementing policies for the much-needed economic growth.
The COVID-19 pandemic and the war between Russia and Ukraine have disrupted supply chains across the world, and experts say these have further heightened the need for Africa to become much more food secure. Food prices are leading the rise in inflation numbers in the country. Consequently, this year's African Statistics Day, spearheaded by the National Bureau of Statistics, underscores the need to pay attention to agricultural statistics.
Most of the people, especially in Africa, they depend more on agriculture. Therefore, it is the most important aspect of data you can give to anybody.
Reliable and timely agricultural data provides governments with the right information they need to make well-informed decisions in business and policy within the entire agricultural value chain.
Using the right agricultural statistics to inform policies and interventions that will help boost outputs, improve nutrition, as well as food security in Africa is of high priority and a matter of urgency in Nigeria.
This is particularly important considering the likely impact the recent floods could have on nutrition and food security of our nation.
The celebration is anchored on the role of statistics in development in Abuja, Muplang, Dakok. NTA News.
Still talking business, let's join Musa Abubakar. Hello, Musa.
Thank you, Jumai.
Oil dropped by more than $2 a barrel on Friday, on track for a second weekly decline due to concern about weakened demand in China and further increases to U.S. interest rates. CNBC reports that Brent crude was down $2.82 at $86.96 a barrel, having touched its lowest level since September 28 at $85.80. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was down 3.2% at $79. The equities market closed in positive territory. The all-share index climbed 1.09% at 44,492.73 basis points. A total turnover of 146.6 million securities valued at 1.2 billion naira exchanged hands in 3,028 deals. Equity capitalization increased to 24.2 trillion naira. Transcorp, FBN Holding, and Cotville were the top traded stocks in terms of volume. And that's a quick look at business. Jumais, back to you now.
Thank you, Musa. Now, the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talent, commiserates with the family of Margaret, the 11-year-old maid, over her untimely death due to torture by her guardian Edoze Nwachukwu in Vom, Jos South local government area of Plateau State. In a statement, the minister expressed worry over daily reports of unwholesome behavior by guardians towards their wards, the latest being the current one about the female microbiologist who tortured her 11-year-old maid to death. Pauline Talent has directed the National President of Women Lawyers to ensure that justice is served and the perpetrator brought to book. We'll take a break now. When we return, more reports. Don't go away.
Daria Media, in association with Cabal Entertainment, presents The Candidate, a presidential town hall meeting series where the presidential candidates of the 6 leading political parties tell us about their plans for the country. Join Kadaria Ahmed as she leads us into the world of these candidates from the 17th to the 23rd of November 2022. This very important program will be streamed on FRCN, Radio Now, DSTV, NTA, Facebook, YouTube, and more. This is a town hall meeting you shouldn't miss. Tune in. Let's hear from the candidates.
Looking fresh for your date? Get even fresher with Close Up. New Close Up Triple Fresh formula. It cleans deeply, fights 99% of bacteria, and cools intensely, keeping you protected and fresh.
Protected and fresh. Protected and fresh. Picture. Protected and fresh.
Still fresh, still protected.
Feeling cool and protected.
All day confidence to get close. New Close Up Triple Fresh formula.
In a third final in 20 years.
Simply out of this world. Get a GoTV decoder, GoTenna, and 1 month max subscription for only 6,900 naira. Watch all the 64 games live from Qatar on GoTV Super.
I'm talking to you.
Thank you. Hi there. You can price, Sha, but you're always saving on everything except for here. This is where you're throwing money down the drain. How? On this cleaning product. Impossible. You need the new Harpic toilet cleaner. With just 130 naira sachet of Harpic toilet cleaner, you save 4. Harpic stick formula stays longer, so it cleans 10 times better. Wow, hey! And it's safe because it's only 30 naira, giving you a sparkling clean toilet and great savings too.
Men do not like overconfident women. Don't touch me without my permission.
I'm a playful guy and I do get carried away sometimes.
You are selfish, manipulative, and you are a narcissist. That's all I've done for you. What have you done for me? She called me Barry.
You know my mom doesn't know any better, right?
You say that now, but then when you see your mother, you start to act like you're dead by the door. You were supposed to be more careful.
I've been.
Really not enough.
Welcome back. The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIMS, has staged a roadwalk to promote the physical and mental development of course participants for effective governance. Caleb Gochin reports.
The 10-kilometer walk commenced from the Plateau State Old Government House and terminated at the new Government House, Little Redfield, Jos. The walk is meant to encourage course participants as well as other stakeholders to imbibe the culture of regular exercise to improve their physical and mental well-being for greater productivity.
They have been able to come up with very valuable, commendable recommendations to address the challenges of local governance in Nigeria.
I want to sensitize the public on the importance and the needs of to strengthen local governance in Nigeria, and also declaring the SEC 44-2022 Sports Week open.
The Plateau State Governor, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the State, Professor Danladi Atu, stressed the importance of the exercise and commended the Institute for the research topic, strengthening local governance in Nigeria.
We are the direct beneficiaries because if you look at the fourth pillar of this government is peace, security, and good governance. And good governance can only be achieved when we get it right at the local level.
The state government pledged to continually support the Institute as well as tap from the wealth of experience of participants for the benefit of the state. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
Sports update with Austin Idemadu is next.
In the middle again, one time.
The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has secured the right to televise live matches of the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup from Qatar. This followed the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the relevant partners. With this development, our teaming audience can enjoy the best of the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup on the NTA network, NTA Sports 24 channel on StarTimes, as well as other NTA stations on terrestrial channels. The competition runs from November 20th to December 18th. Meanwhile, Economy Warriors of Medigri and Bendel Insurance of Benin are setting the pace at the Nigerian National League Super 4 playoff holding at the Samson Sessa Stadium in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. Kumasi Daniel reports that Economy Warriors were 2 goals to the good against Doma United on day 2, while Bendel Insurance beat host Bayelsa United by a lone goal.
We have to show our class tactically, and then we just started. I'm not making out. At least we are going to show the difference.
The quality and the caliber of players we have, teams we have now, I think we're going to enjoy NNL the more.
Still on football, ex-internationals Christian Obodo and Samson Soji have advocated sustained grassroots football development, especially in the riverine communities in the Niger Delta region. They were amongst the stars that graced this year's opening ceremony of Ijo Insecurity Peace Cup, organized by Center for Peace and Environmental Justice in Warri, Delta State.
I'm bringing some scouts, from Europe and African continent. So I believe they will see a lot of talent.
We are trying to unify the people because football is a unifier.
The tournament has 8 teams competing for honors between November 16th to December 24th. With Sports Update, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
The remains of one-time Minister of Defense Dr. Shatima Mustafa has been laid to rest in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, this afternoon. The funeral prayer held at the Maiduguri Central Mosque was led by the Chief Imam of Borno, Zanna Lesu Ibrahim. Yagum Subuka reports.
Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum and the Emir of Gaidam Tijani Sale Gaidam, as well as member House of Representatives of Murti, Monguno and Ganzai, Mohammed Tahir Monguno, were among sympathizers who attended the funeral of the former minister, late Dr. Shatima Mustafa. Dr. Shatima Mustafa was born in 1939 in Gujuba and attended Borno Middle School in Maiduguri, later trained as medical field assistant and worked with Radio Television Kaduna. He was a graduate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria in 1972 and worked as a researcher at Institute of Agricultural Research ABU Zaria. Late Dr. Shetima Mustafa became a regional head of the Federal Agricultural Coordinating Unit and fellow of Genetic Agricultural Society of Nigeria and American Society of Agronomy. Dr. Shetima Mustafa also served as a minister in various ministries to include Agriculture, Defense and Interior, as well as Pioneer National Secretary of the PDP. He was a recipient of numerous national and international awards, including OON and OFR. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
The death has been announced of late Chukwuma Antonio Edekobi Onanako Obi, who died on Tuesday, 6th November 2022. He was aged 64. He retired as the Director Admin Finance Primary Health Care Board, Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCT. Burial arrangement will be announced later by the family. Let's have a quick check on tomorrow's weather outlook.
A warm welcome to you. I'm Theodora Itum. The north and parts of the north central